Buenos dias, and I want to tell you about an easy project that I put together that is somewhat unique in design, and it's also quite economical, that I'm pretty happy with. There's a few improvements I would have done to, which I'll get to, but overall I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I hope to get some good use out of it. Now, unfortunately, this project, because I've been busy throughout the summer, and also I was on vacation, and the point is this: by the time my wife and I got around to finishing this project, which of course is a summer sleeping bag, it's now it's becoming too cold to use the sleeping bag as a standalone bag in the summer. Here I live in Sweden, and this has been kind of an early start to autumn, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to use it out in the field this year as far as a standalone bag, but in the winter time I do intend on using it, if it gets very, very cold, inside of one of my down bags as a sleeping bag liner. Now, what is it? Let's get into the details, and of course, as always, I will put a link below to my blog where I'll write a brief, kind of more detailed description of things. But because it has somewhat of a unique design, I thought it'd be much easier to describe it in a video rather than kind of write it out. It's kind of boring to just write about how you made something, so I thought it'd be much cooler to show. So what you're looking at here, you have to visualize kind of like a sandwich of fabrics. Now, I guess I'll start from the back side, where the black fabric, this is actually one big silk liner. So the silk liner, I actually bought a couple of these. I got a really good deal on a couple of silk liners on eBay, and this, as I may have said before, like, this is altogether, these sleeping bags were very economical to make. We made one. We're going to make another one. We have fabric, left over for the next one, but it ended up being about $40 a piece for the sleeping bag. That's not bad considering how much sleeping bags can go for. Now, I will say this: that also includes shipping costs. Because I live in Sweden, it's a little bit more. So if you live in the United States, this will probably be even cheaper for you. Okay, but that's the kind of the shell of this, is the silk. And the reason why I got the inspiration for this to begin with is that after ordering these two silk liners, and I used in the field, and I noticed like there was a slight amount of warmth, but I thought, for me to bring in as like an extra kind of liner for my bag, I'd really want it to be more for kind of bang for your buck. I wanted it to be warmer, so I thought, well, how do I go about making it warmer without putting on too much weight? But then I thought, well, if I were to put something like on it to make it warmer, then it could be a standalone sleeping bag on its own. I would never have used just a silk liner for a sleeping bag unless I was, like, I guess backpacking in the tropics or something like that. But I looked into some fabric options, and I went with M90. That's the red fabric here that you see on top, which is a synthetic. It's a nylon fabric, and then on the inside for insulation, it's a synthetic insulation, and that's the 2.5 ounce clamshell latex insulation. And there's just one layer of it in the bag. As you see, it's just one continuous kind of big rectangle of insulation that has been sewn onto the piece of M90 that has been sewn on top of the silk liner. So that's why it's kind of a tricky design. Even like when telling like friends about it or family, like it was tricky to like kind of explain, but I hope that now you kind of get the picture. But it has good utility, because I'm hoping when I can actually use this out in the field, it will be a nice actual standalone sleeping bag. I have, of course, tested it out here at home, and it's quite comfortable. And now it's not anything complicated either to get in and out. It's just you get in and you get out. There's no drawstring, there's no zipper, there's nothing like that. It's just meant to be like a blanket. You like kind of get inside and pull it over you, and that's it. It doesn't need to really cinch up too much, because, you won't need to be bundled up too much, because it's not intended to use at really low temperatures. I would guess that this would be used at around, like, say 13, 14 degrees centigrade to, like, 18 degrees. It rarely ever gets to be warmer than around 18 degrees at night in the summertime where I live. But yeah, and then of course in the winter, if it gets really, really cold, I can use it inside, and it'll be a much bigger bonus to the temperature than before. Now, the M90 fabric, in retrospect, I wish I would have looked into some other lighter fabrics, because when I found I was so excited about the project. I was like, oh, okay, that seems fine, great. I'd read good things about this fabric before, but in my haste, I neglected to consider other nylon shell fabrics, like what's the one, argon, and then there's the noble, and there's different things that people use. So, but it doesn't really matter, because now we're really splitting hairs now. But of course, that's what a lot of ultralight people like to do anyway. But if you're curious, it probably would have saved a few ounces. Not that big of a deal, but for the cost and everything, I'm overall very happy with this. But yeah, if you are interested in doing something like this, I highly recommend it. I often hear people say that ultralight is very expensive, and that's a whole nother tangent that I won't get into too much. I will say this: I think that's an exaggeration, and I think there's a lot of things that you can do to save money on your own. For example, make your own sleeping bag. You can make, of course, a much warmer sleeping bag. You can not only get thicker synthetic insulation, you can also get down. You can buy down yourself. You can, do everything yourself, and then you'll save a lot of money. But anyway, that's the end of that little tangent on cost. But I hope this is helpful. This is one of the bigger type projects that I've done, and it was easy to do. Well, I didn't sew anything. It was my wife that she was the one that ended up sewing, but it was my design, so we work as a nice team. But anyway, hope this helps. Check out my blog for more details, and yeah, thanks and goodbye.